Hey, this is Meredith Elliott Powell, and welcome to Sales Logic, the show where we dive into the strategies, discuss the steps, everything that you need to know to make sales fun, easy, and even more effective. And I am here with my co-host, Mark Hunter. Hey, Mark.
Hey, good afternoon, Meredith. Great. It's always great to be able to exchange ideas with you once a week. Although we do have to admit that we do talk throughout
quite a bit
right now, live right now.
Well, I'm talking about one of our favorite subjects, and that is, that is sales. Here we are, about halfway through January, and I'm hoping that everybody who's listening to us really has their foot on the gas.
I'm amazed at the number of people that still do not. I was on a call the other night, and several people were saying, well, they took some time off over the holidays, and they're having a hard time gearing back up. And that's like, you got to be kidding me, man. Yeah. I mean, it's full throttle.
Yeah, it was interesting. I was looking at my Google Analytics this morning, and all of my numbers really fell down during that week of Christmas to New Year's, because people do take time away from the computer. They're not really looking at social media. But that very first week of January, right after New Year's Eve, my numbers tripled. And it says to me, I really hope that people are out there, they were in the game, because the moment that the holiday stopped, the moment we welcomed 2021, people were ready to go and they were ready to buy.
Yeah, you really got to gear up. And today's show is going to be talking about that. So, hey, why don't you go ahead and explain how the show works? And I'll kind of run through the topics and the questions, and we'll get going. How's that sound?
That sounds good. All right. So every week, as many of you know, because you tune in every week, we split the show into 4 segments. We always have a hot topic, something that you really need to know if you want to sell more effectively this year. We have a question from one of our viewers. So if you ever have a question that you want us to discuss right here live on this show, all you have to do is go to our website, saleslogicpodcast.com, saleslogicpodcast.com, or just put it out there on social media and hashtag sales logic. Then we recommend a book, something that we're reading or we think you should be reading. And then, because we want you to get return on investment, we want you to walk away with strategies you can implement this afternoon. That's right, before Friday at 5 o'clock comes. We do a lightning round, a couple of steps and strategies you should be putting in immediately. So, Mark, tell us what's on tap for today.
Well, the topic today is how to organize your day to sell more. So that's going to be the topic. The lightning round, we're going to give you some time management techniques that you can use right now, like you said, Friday afternoon. But first, let's jump into the question. And the question comes to us from Lori in Tucson. She asked, last year was a disaster. I finished the year way under quota, and my quota this year is 25% bigger than last year. If I don't get organized quick, I have zero chance. What should I be doing or not? And I like the second part. What should I be doing or not doing right now at my time? I like Lori.
I do too. First of all, Lori, one thing that you should not be doing is dwelling on last year. Let it go. It's over. It's the past. It's finished. You didn't come across the finish line as strong as you wanted to. You could beat yourself up for a number of reasons, but that's done. It's time to move forward. Let's go.
I like that approach, because one of the things you got to do, we start with a clean slate. Every morning we start off with a clean slate. Every week, every month. And you have to be able to put the past behind and move on. So you're right. Hey, one of the other things you really got to do is really look at your pipeline and begin assessing how long does it take you to close the deal. Mm-hmm. And what I mean that, because it sounds like she's got to get her act together for the entire year. So she's got to look at her deals. What are going to be those long-term projects? I was just talking with somebody today. They got a long-term project that's going to take them probably 6 months to close. Okay. So how do you put that into your funnel? Where do you put other deals that are smaller? So you really got to begin allocating your time, not just for today, but for the next 6 months.
Yeah, I think you need to do a little self-reflection too, because if last year was a disaster, you need to know where you derailed. Did you not manage your time effectively? Did you waste your time calling on the wrong people? Did you not make enough sales calls in the week? Were you not gutsy enough to ask for the business? Did you forget to build your reputation in the marketplace? You really need to do an audit and really determine what didn't work last year and what did, because even though the year was a disaster, you did some things right, some things worked. So you want to know what those are so you can carry them through to 2021. And then you want to think about what you need to be doing that you didn't do in 2021 that's going to help you be in 2020, that's going to help you be successful in 2021.
I'm going to add to that. It's going to be so easy. If you come off a bad year, it's going to be easy to start chasing every single lead, every single thing. And all you're doing is squirrel, squirrel, squirrel. You got to make sure that you keep your time focused on your ideal customer profile. We've talked about this before. Talked about actually creating an avatar. I was with a sales team the other day, and I said, literally just create a picture of who your ideal customer is. And if they don't line up to at least, if the prospect you have doesn't line up to at least 70% of the way this avatar thinks, behaves, acts, does things, you don't want to spend time on them. You've got to remain very focused, because when people are chasing a number they don't feel good about, it's just, they wind up going down so many stupid paths. And right now, we may still be in January, but you don't have an opportunity, Lori, to go down any stupid paths.
Yeah, I mean, that's such a great point. I also think that back years ago when I was a banker, we used to cash flow a loan to determine how much excess revenue people had to actually return, to actually pay their loan down. And then we would say, whatever excess cash you have and you need, now double it, because something's going to happen. Extra expenses are going to pop up. I think it's the same with your sales pipeline. You know how many deals you need to close a month in order to hit your monthly goal. You need to double that. You need to have more that you're expecting to close than you need to close, because 2021 is probably going to be as sketchy as 2020. So much is derailing. I just had a big deal yesterday. I mean, we were there, we'd signed the contract, everything was in place, and they just decided to postpone till 2022. Now, I could be a jerk about it, but that's not the way we play this game. Thank God I got enough coming through the pipeline that if this deal needs to push into 2021, I'm okay. So you better bank on more than you need.
And along with that, grab some other people who can come alongside you. One of the things that I strongly suggest, especially in the first quarter, grab other subject matter experts. Maybe you in a company and there's some people who are really smart. Get them involved on some sales calls. I was on the phone this morning with a VP of sales of a company. He participated in a sales call with his CEO, and they sat across from the CEO of a potential customer. And because this VP of sales brought his leader along with him, guess what? They were able to have a CEO to CEO conversation. Tremendous number of opportunities, incremental opportunities that the VP of sales was quick to admit. He said, you know what? There's no way I would have been able to uncover these, or my account exec would have been able to uncover these. But it was because it was the language of the C-suite. Get other people involved to help you uncover incremental opportunities now.
Great. I'm going to say, look for ways that you can shorten the sales cycle. Maybe 2020 was a disaster because it takes a lot of effort to close a deal in an uncertain marketplace. So start to think about where you can shorten the sales cycle. I was just working with a client yesterday who is definitely looking to get into a new field. And that means a lot of cold calling. So we were going through her LinkedIn contacts, really trying to figure out where she has soft introductions. And it was amazing how many people she knows that are actually connected to this new industry she wants to get in. The other is start to think about partnerships and collaboration. I don't know if anybody caught on the news this morning the innovative ways that the Girl Scouts are delivering cookies this year, but they've partnered with Uber Eats. They've set up drive-through lanes at grocery stores, but they've really been very, very creative at getting around some of the biggest obstacles that they've had. So start to think about partnerships and collaborations and ways you can shorten the sales cycle.
You are making me hungry for Girl Scout cookies. Let me tell you something. Thin mints? You know those thin mints that everybody keeps a box or two in their freezer?
Yeah.
We're out.
They have a new cookie this year. I think it's French toast, I think.
Oh,
Yeah. But I was so impressed because you just don't think of the Girl Scouts as a cutting edge, innovative business. But if you read the story, which I really encourage you to do, you talk about an obstacle. I mean, these are young girls knocking on people's doors, something you just can't do anymore. And rather than throw up their hands and say, we just can't do this in 2021, they really got creative and formed some pretty impressive partnerships, and they're doing well.
especially today here in Omaha, because we're having a blizzard outside right now. I mean, a literal blizzard right now. So yeah, I don't think they're going door to door.
No.
But then, you know what? It's easy. If you stop and think about that, they were creative. They thought outside the box, and they came
Literally.
up with literally. Oh, I'm sorry. And they came up with an easy solution. Now, here's a simple thing. This goes for Lori. This goes for anybody listening. There are alternate solutions if you're willing to take a step back. And I always say that's where a good cup of coffee comes in hand, and you sit down and you begin to brainstorm. But here's one caution. Just be careful that you don't get too far outside your lane, because otherwise what happens is you're just going to be blowing in the wind forever. The Girl Scouts were able to come up with a solution that they could implement. I'm sure, Lori, you can come up with some. The key is to put those things in place right now. Hey, we should probably jump over to the topic that we have, and that's how to organize your day to sell more. It really dovetails with what Lori was asking us. So, you and I share a common trait. We're up way too early in the morning. So anyway,
Right.
So maybe some people don't quite get up as early as we do, but what are some things we can be doing to how to organize your day to sell more?
Well, I think that the first step is right there in the topic for the day, and that is that you literally need to organize your day. Right? I mean, you need to decide what's going to happen when, and I think that's even bigger than sales. I mean, you mentioned that you and I get up, really early, and we're often exchanging a few emails at that time. But I know about you, and I know about me that our day is very much sectioned off. We have time scheduled for when we're going to make sales calls. We have time scheduled for when we're going to physically get work done. We have time scheduled for when we're going to go get a little bit of exercise. So you need to think about your day and organize the day so that you can get the things done you want to get done.
We've talked about this topic in various manners before, but there's a few things that you just can't drive home enough, and that is spend time, and I know you do, every morning looking at your goals. I am committed. Every morning I take a couple minutes and I look at my goals and I say where it is. And out of that, I'm creating, and it's a new thing that I just came up with the other day called CTA. We think about call to action. We call a prospect, we're making a phone call, and think, okay, what's my CTA? What's going to be my CTA? But I'm thinking, you know what? I need a CTA every day for myself. What's my call to action? What is my big outcome that I'm going to create today? And I'm being really adamant about creating that CTA. And it's keeping me a lot more focused because it's not about conversations. It's about selling.
Yeah, I think another thing that you need to do is really manage your energy. I am a morning person. The best work is going to come out of me before about 3:00 in the afternoon. So protecting the time from 5:00 in the morning until 3:00 in the afternoon. I typically have conversations with people from 3 to 5, or maybe I do a little bit of admin work from 3 to 5, because it's not my best thinking time. It's not my best writing time. So understanding kind of how you function. I'm going to add into that. I'm not a personality style that can stay focused for a very long time. So if you saw the organization of my day, you'd see I go at it from about 5 to 7, 7 o'clock. I'm going to go get some exercise. I may be on the tennis court. I may be downstairs in the gym, working out. And then by, 9 o'clock, I'm back at my desk. I'm, back with a cup of coffee, going at it again until about 12, when I'm going to take another break. So giving yourself that luxury of what fills you back up with energy so that you can sit down and keep going at it.
See, the energy I get always comes from my cup of coffee, which I always have in my hand. But hey, you just shed something. Now, everybody, make a note to yourself. If Meridith ever calls you between 3 and 5 in the afternoon, you'll know you're not one of her important. No, anyway.
No joke.
Yeah. Now, see, but this is the whole thing. you set your day based off your biorhythm. Okay, we're not going to go down some weird path here, but it really is. I am much more energetic in the morning. That's when I get my critical thinking done. That's when I make my critical phone calls. If it's an important call, I make it in the morning and I maximize. But here's something else that I'm very much committed to, because we're all in this work from home environment. Our schedule has changed dramatically over what it was a year ago at this time. And I am forcing myself that I'm going to take a break. I'm going to take 2 15-minute breaks every day. And I'm just going to step out of my office. I'm going to go do something else. It generally isn't my workout time. I set that up for a different time of the day, depending on the weather and what I'm going to be doing that day. But I schedule in those breaks. The reason being is because here's what I found. If you try to stay, I'm going to work 24/7. I'm going to work 24/7. You know what? It's amazing how your pace just slows down. It just slows down. Stay fired up. And here's something else I really want you to do. Who is the big opportunity? Who is the big call? Make that one first. Brian Tracy always talks about this. Eat the frog first thing in the morning. And I always say, okay, my calling a big customer to me, that I love doing that. But I want to do that first thing in the morning because, man, I want to hit a home run and I want to hit it early because then I get to celebrate all day. It just makes me dance.
Right. I also think that something that you need to think about is what are you doing that you shouldn't be doing? Talk about maximizing your day for sales. I mean, I really like to sell myself. I don't really, I have other people who'll set up appointments for me, but I'm having the conversation. I'm closing the deal. So that means a lot of other things on my plate can get delegated to other people. So when you're handling a task as a salesperson, really realize that the highest and best use of your time is getting yourself business. And if you're not a salesperson, if you're a business owner, then you know what? The highest and best use of your time is managing your people and bringing in new business. And if you're doing tasks that are not falling in those buckets, then you need to be delegating those tasks.
Yeah, 2 things to add to that. It's CFT, customer facing time. How much customer facing time you, and I tell people, create a chart on that. Keep a list. How much of your time is spent customer facing with existing and how much of your time is spent customer facing with prospects? Stay on top of that. Second piece that you really have to monitor is watch social media and watch the internet. No, watch it that you don't spend time on it. I hear so many salespeople, after you pull back the curtain, they admit that they spend a couple hours a day on social media. You and I were having this discussion the other day with a couple people saying that, hey, no, I'm 20 minutes a day max on social media, period.
Yeah.
That's it. And because otherwise all you do is you get caught up. And I'll tell you what, social media is a great tool if you want to watch cat videos. Okay. I'm just going to leave it at that. Right.
Well, I would say, another thing to really organize your sales day is to be honest with yourself about what's yielding results. I mean, Mark was just talking about social media. And if you're somebody who you're getting a ton of leads from social media, then by all means, spend more time there. But it's interesting. This week, I've gotten a lot of in-mails into my LinkedIn. And besides the fact that I'm probably not going to answer them, is I've been amazed that they've been 3 and 4 paragraphs long. Now, I'm never going to read anything that's 3 or 4 paragraphs long, but I am kind of an infomercial girl. I mean, I'm easily influenced. You can suggest me into things. So probably unlike Mark, I will look at my in-mails. But if you're drowning me in information or you're pitching things to me that we have no connection or relationship, just be honest with yourself. If you did things last month that didn't get sales results, let them go. Move on to something else. Don't continue to do the same stuff because you only have X amount of time and only X amount of energy in the day to sell. So that self-reflection is really important.
Full disclosure on LinkedIn, in-mail, and messages that come directly to me. I wipe them out so fast that, you know what? I overlooked a prospect sending me a message saying, hey, can we get together on January 6th or whatever for a call? I actually missed it. So anyway, you got to be in a little bit of time. but gotta move fast. Hey, with that, we should probably keep the show moving along, and we want to talk about a book. This is a book. Take a look at this. The Edge, The Introvert's Edge. Now, Matthew Pollard has been around for a few years now, and you're going to say, hey, now wait a minute. So this is the introvert's edge to networking. How do we network when we can't go anywhere? Let me tell you something. He walks through so many strategies as to how you can do it by way of Zoom, social media, other types of online events. And here's what I like about it. I don't view myself as an introvert, although in reality, I am. I am actually an introvert. And what I found is when I read this book, there's so many little things that I could pick up. You say, you know what? Yeah, I could do that. You and I, we find ourselves many times on kind of group Zoom chats, with 5 to 15 people. And it can be a little bit kind of overwhelming. Well, This book has got some great strategies. So the book is The Introvert's Edge to Networking by Matthew Pollard. He wrote a book a couple of years ago, also equally as good, but grab this one. So anyway, hey, with that, ready for the lightning round?
I am ready for the lightning round.
The lightning round. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands on the buzzer. Get ready. It's time management for salespeople. Meredith, go.
Never leave your office without your to-do list for the next day, but your to-do list needs to be prioritized. Meaning, when I get up and I sit down at my desk at 5 a.m., I not only know what I'm going to do that day, but I know what order things need to be done. So if I don't complete the entire list, at least I've gotten to the most important.
And you heard her say it right there, 5 a.m. She's at her desk. So anyway, but I know because I've texted her and I've emailed her way before then too. So, hey, here's one. Know what your CTA is. I talked about it earlier. What is your call to action? What's the big objective that you're going to get accomplished? Make sure you know what that is before you start the day.
Now, here's one nobody wants to hear, but it is very important. And that is keep your CRM up to date, your customer relationship management system. The more that it has the addresses, the more it has the notes, everything that you need at your fingertips, the more your dates are kept up of who you need to call on and who you need to follow up with, the easier and more efficient your life is going to be.
Spend 5 minutes every morning reviewing your goals, not just your goals for today, your goals for the quarter, your goals for the year, and your 5-year plan. Always stay up to speed as to where you're at on that.
Every week, I do mine on Friday mornings. Carve out 30 minutes to reflect on the week. What did you do that moved the needle forward? Where did you waste your time? And what do you need to move into the next week? I really say always that you are your best sales coach, and self-reflection and understanding everybody wastes time. Everybody does it. And you need to understand where you made a mistake calling on somebody you shouldn't have called on or using a social media tool you shouldn't have used, but learn from yourself.
Get yourself a 2x4. No, you don't hit yourself over the head with a 2x4, but you get a 2x4 to remind yourself that you're going to carve your day up into 4 2-hour segments. Each 2-hour segment has a very specific, different objective. At the end of that 2-hour segment, you're going to ask yourself, how did I do? How was my performance? When you evaluate yourself in smaller chunks like that, it's amazing how you're going to up your game in terms of productivity.
Yeah. Manage your energy instead of your time. Really get to know how you work and when you're most efficient and what you're most effective and what you need to do to rebuild your energy. Just give you a quick example. At the end of every month, I do a financial review with myself just to see where I am in terms of revenue in the pipeline, what revenue is in there, what business is booked. That meeting exhausts me. I don't enjoy it. That's not the turn on to me of business. So I always schedule right after that meeting time to go for a mountain bike ride, maybe play a little tennis or just go outside for a walk, but do something I like to do because that puts energy back into me.
Know your selling hours. When are the hours of the day that your customers are most available? Make sure that those are your selling hours. Don't schedule anything else during that activity. But that is the time you're going to be on the phone, you're going to be making calls, you're going to be engaging with your customers and prospects.
Give up the howdy doody calls. You know that when people come up in your CRM and that that customer is a waste of your time to give a call. Either, they've been a customer, there's nothing else to sell them, but stop taking the easy route. Every time something pops through your customer relationship management system, grade it back through your ideal client. Really ask yourself, I have 10 filters that I grade my prospects on. And if they don't hit at least 7, it's not worth me picking up the telephone. And so it isn't the quantity of phone calls I make, it's the quality of phone calls I make.
Save your social media wandering time for the evenings and the weekends. That is not to be done during the day. Hey, you want to go out and spend time on social media? Great. Do it in the evening when you're watching Netflix or something like that.
Yeah. Think about the content that you need to create ahead of time. I know Mark did this, and I just did this for myself over the holidays, but I decided to give a theme to every month. So for my podcasts, for my videos, for my blogs that I need and I want to write, I don't have to think about what I'm going to write about that month. Like I know in February, everything has to relate to sales follow-up because February is sales follow-up month for me. So how are you going to label out your months during the year of content you're going to create? And anything that you can create and get ready ahead of time, shooting videos, a series of 10 in a day or something is going to save you time in the long run.
Don't work off a to-do list, work off your calendar. You have activities you need to get done, you put them into your calendar. What that's going to do is going to help you compartmentalize time, and it's going to keep that simple activity that you got to do from expanding and taking up 3 times as much time as you really have.
Yeah, start to use a calendar scheduler. I've heard it said that can save you about 5 hours in a week, in a month. But really, instead of trying to set up appointments with people, just offer to share your scheduler and allow them to make a time that's comfortable for them, or ask to use theirs if that's better for you.
Challenge yourself with each activity that you do and ask yourself, do I really need to do it? There's so many things that we just do out of routine in our jobs. You really have to ask yourself, why am I doing it? I probably don't need to do it. Hey, why don't you share one more, then I'll share one more, and then we'll kind of close it down.
I started communicating with my team via Vidyard. Rather than me typing emails or things, I'm just shooting quick videos for them. It's easier for me to explain what I need done in a video, and it's much faster than me typing it out. So I would encourage you to kind of look at some new tools and resources and think about how you can delegate, how you can automate, and how you can use tools and resources to be more efficient and more effective.
That's good. And I'll close it down by saying the most valuable asset you have is not your customers, it's not your prospects, it's not your price list, it's not what you sell. It's your time. That is your most valuable asset. Use it wisely, because it's also the only asset that you really can't make more of. So, hey, with that, we're out of time. We need to shut this down. So I want to say thank you for listening to Sales Logic this week. If you like what you hear, hey, subscribe, rate, and review the show on your favorite podcast app. If something we've said has earned you a single dollar, consider telling a friend about our show. It's how we grow to help you grow. I'm Mark Hunter.
And I'm Meridith Elliott Powell.
And remember, when you sell with confidence and integrity,
uncertainty suddenly becomes your competitive advantage.
And the sale becomes logical.
All right. We'll see you next week.